Hello everybody. I am about to do a wreath tutorial for those who are wanting to learn. I usually do my personal videos because I'm not big on doing YouTube videos. I'm not really experienced in doing that. So I am taking a video with my phone, so y'all bear with me. This wreath I actually got from Hobby Lobby. It was half off because everything right now in Hobby Lobby, as far as the Christmas goes, is half off. So I paid about $3.50 for this and $6.99 for this. I usually like working with the already made work wreaths, but you can actually make one yourself. And I'll go back a little later and show you how to make an actual wreath if you're just working with just the plain wire wreaths from the Dollar Tree. Then you can just use like chenille stems. So pretend these are your chenille stems. And you just wrap them around. Usually most wreaths take about 18 chenille stems. This is 18 golden stems for the work wreath. I'm just spreading them out right now. It's kind of helping me prepare to cut down my mesh and attach them a lot quicker if I have them already spread out. So I'm pretty much just going around, opening them up, making sure I have all my stems. Always make sure if you're working with a work wreath that you buy out of the store that's already pre-made, make sure you have all your stems together. Sometimes in situations like I've had before where I have bought a wreath not paying attention, a work wreath, and all of the stems weren't on there. Some of them were broken off. So always pay attention if you're buying a work wreath to make sure that all the stems are on there. To pair up, it's supposed to be 2 each per section. So here's all of that opened up. Excuse my background if you see people walking around. It's my son. We just celebrated his birthday yesterday. So we've got pots and pans and everything everywhere. We've done a big feast for him. So I'm going to set this to the side. And I've used this roll already, but I like to work with the fabric mesh because it's a lot sturdier and it doesn't frail a lot. But even if it is a regular deco mesh, I would say like this. I use big rolls because I make huge wreaths because I like to fill them in with a lot of other stuff and add things to it. But this one I got, of course, from Hobby Lobby. This week they were half off of the price. Let's see, this was $7.99. Of course, it was $4 for this roll. But I use this because of the color. So I am going to start with the fabric mesh. And you could just pretend that it's a regular mesh roll that you would get from the Dollar Tree. And let me trim the edges off. I usually have my roller blade with me, but I need to buy a new blade because I use it so much. So I'm trimming off the edge that's already frayed. But even if it wasn't, I would still, I'm going to do the cruffle method to where you'll know how to fold the ends in so that it won't fray on your wreath. So I like to measure, this is my 17-inch board. I like to measure all the way to 17 to get the most out of my mesh. And I'm going to show you also how to do the double cross, my new double cross cruffle method, so that those gaps that you always want to fill in looks a lot more full going across the wreath. So this is at 17. Roll them up, and I'm going to make double each. So we're going to, this lady that has ordered this, she's in love with this gold and blue and white color. So we're going to hurry up and get that cut up. Use the rest of this this mesh because I don't like to waste. And I did buy an extra one. So we're going to, sorry y'all, I'm doing this in my PJs. This is one of those days where you partied the night before with your son as far as planning his party, and you stay up late. And then you don't want to do anything the next day. So, I love making my wreaths in my PJs, and I watch TV, sit there and watch Netflix or Hulu all day and make wreaths. I have the orders that come in like crazy, and this because we're at the end of the roll, I just take it off and I use it. The whole thing, I don't need to necessarily measure it because it's not a whole lot left on the roll. So this has tape on it, so I'm just prying it back. Let's see. And then detach it. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't want to post this personal tutorial on Dollar Tree because nowadays these groups always have something specific they don't want you to put on there, post on there, you know, just message them and this and third. So I've noticed throughout the times that I've been on different groups, I also on Hobby Lobby, of course Dollar Tree, and not a lot of other groups, they don't want you posting personal tutorials on there unless it's a YouTube video. And I don't deal with YouTube too well, so I'm gonna just do this and just send it to y'all individually, which is not work for me at all, but just for those who are interested. So right now, I have Chico, excuse the dog. He's a little dog and he's got a lot of bark. 2, 4, and 6. And I said I needed 18, at least 18. Some of them, they kind of takes a little less than that. So 6. So I'm gonna keep cutting and always measure your ends. Make sure they're, because you don't want them to look uneven once you post them. I mean, once you add them to your wreath. I mean, not that it really would, because the way I'm gonna teach you, you won't really be able to tell a big difference. Once we do the cruffle double cross method. So we're gonna get them all cut down. I guess you can cut your mesh down. Now, if you have the Dollar Tree mesh, I know they're a little smaller and shorter. They're probably about half the size. Just cut them. I would say take something that you can measure. If you don't have the measuring board, I would say, like, I got a packet of napkins, and I would just kind of measure it down the roll, and then like add another section of napkins or whatnot, and just cut it down to that size so that you'll know, okay, I have a good even measurement of this. So this, let's see, this is 13 by 13. So I will take 2 of these and then use the roll and cut it down to the end so that it'll be an even measurement. Therefore, you can get something going with that. And let's see if we can cut down. I like to pre-cut everything so that once I get going, I don't have to stop in the middle and cut down anymore. It's just all about preparation. So the lady that had ordered these, she has a double door. So she orders from me every year around Christmas time. And she's also on YouTube. She's a great cook. And she posts her tutorials on Facebook as well, but on her page. I haven't posted any videos on my Lani's Wreaths page yet. Because I wasn't sure if anybody was really interested in me putting tutorials down until just recently. And I got the same reaction, I'd say maybe a month ago. And everybody's like, you sure you don't want to post tutorials? Chico! Sorry. Post tutorials on your page, your business page. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure if anybody's really interested in that. It's like, you should. And then I never got to it because all of my orders, between me traveling and all of my orders coming in one by one, and everybody's going to my website and ordering too, so I have to kind of keep up with that. But this might be. It's been kind of hectic. So let's get started. And even if I don't have enough, I'll go ahead and cut it anyway. All right, so right here you have your two, I would say pipe cleaners, but your wires. And the cruffle method to keep all of your mesh from fraying, I like to, right here at the end, I like to push it down and fold in small increments down, make it even. So I fold it, 1, 2, and then I work my hands as if I'm walking a dog. So if you kind of push your fingers to walk your mesh and then give it some space at the ends and then roll your other end in like you did the first end, and as it meets. So this is how it should look. This is where I walked it in. This is one end curled. This is the other end curled. So it should look just like that at this end and like that. So you hold it down, pinch it, and you set it in that stem and fold it, 1, 2, like that. I did it twice because I still have to do my cross method, my double cross. So once again, roll and fold, 1, 2, like that, where it's rolled, and then walk it, walking, walking, walking. Give it a little space at the end for the other curl to meet, and curl it in. So 1, 2, and voila. There it is. And my double cross method is, once I have put this on here, I'm going to lay this. So this is going this way, sideways. This is going up and down. So I attach it and fold it over again twice like I did the first one. So 1 and 2, so tie it in. Therefore, you hardly see the space or the gap in between. You don't even see where it would have been right here is now pretty much covered. And then once you start adding around the ends, it'll fluff in together. So right here is where I'm starting, and I flare it out, kind of pull it out a little bit, just so that it could look a little bit more, give it a little bit more character. All right, let's do it again. So fold and roll. 1, 2, walk. What I'm doing is I'm holding, I still have my hands on the roll, and I'm walking it, just scrunching it in together until I have enough space to where I can roll the other end in. Therefore, it's pretty much, and you can kind of situate it to where it kind of looks even a little bit on both sides, but usually even once you start attaching it to the wreath and it starts to fluff out, it gives itself its own character of how it's got that poof method pretty much. So I go again, I attach it, fold it in, and then use both stems. 1, 2, and then I switch it to the side. And therefore, once they're beside each other, I like for them to meet, so that they're, whatever's beside each other, I make sure that they're pretty much touching each other at the ends like this. And then fluff it out a little bit. And then I get my cross method because I'm crossing it. So one's going this way and the other one's going top to bottom. So we'll fold in once, twice, and hold it down while I'm scrunching it in together. And then roll the other side in where they meet. Almost like a butterfly or like a mesh bow, but just make sure that they meet at the ends. And then I'm gonna cross it up from top to bottom this way on that same mesh. Therefore, we are filling in gaps here. And I always want to make sure that I have enough. I don't cut the ends because I'm going to add ribbon to it. So I want to make sure that I have enough stem to add my ribbon in. And I'm going to use bow. I'm going to turn the ribbon into bows on this one because she loves it. So we have that. So therefore, this is how it's looking. Right there. You can hardly see behind it. And like I said, once you add and you start adding the top row, you won't really see it. So I'm going to continue to keep doing this until you feel like you have it. So I always want to continue to do that. I won't stop. Just because I'm in the middle of making a wreath. A lot of people like to stop and then pause and then bring it back together. I want everybody to be able to get it. So I'm going to keep continuing until we're finished with this wreath. So scrunch, 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 roll, roll, push it together. Like that. And then attach it to your stems. And fluff it out. And since they're side by side, you always want to adjust your mesh because it tends to go everywhere. Like that. Across side to side. And keep on going. This is just one of many ways, because so many ways to do a wreath. I've learned over the years that it depends on the person and what they like to do best or what they get requests of the most. For the methods that they use, that you could use to do wreaths. I just prefer this one because of the fact that I like to fill in all of the angles of my wreath. So a lot of people, they love full wreaths, not gappy wreaths. And I've had a few people come to me like, I've tried to make a wreath, but it seems like I'm not filling in the gaps, and it still have, you know, spaces in between where you can see straight through it. And I just tell them you just got to add more mesh to it, and make sure that the angle that you're doing it, you have fluffed it out enough. So fluffing technique, it's not hard, it's just adjusting. It's adjusting your bows and your ribbons, your whatever you choose to use, your mesh, to where you can situate it and still be satisfied. I've had my trial and error over the years. I started off making Hawaiian lace with my grandmother. I'm originally from Hawaii, and grew up doing that. And then I got curious about wreaths. Every Christmas, we would go and drive around and see everybody with their pretty wreaths on the door. I was like, I want to make those. And pretty much got curious about it enough to be self-taught, pretty much. I like doing creative. I like adding my creative touch to everything. So the more curious I got, and the trial and error that I was going through, it pretty much taught me a lot. And here we are today. This isn't the only thing I do. I also make ornaments. I make the signs that go in the middle of your wreath. Of course, that's the advantages of having a Cricut machine. And I also sell those as well, because people ask me to make signs. I do sports wreath. I do everything year round. Any season you could think of, I'm pretty much out there. I do the rose bears. I guess they were calling them the celebrity bears, or celebrity rose bears. I do those as well. I work at the senior living facility sometimes to help them out as far as teaching these tutorials, just to keep their motor skills going and keep them active. I love working with them. They are a joy. So I have to go back now, and it seemed like I got hit in the head twice with 2 different facilities, and now they're like, hey, I need you to do one for me, and get some ornaments, and I want you to do those too. And this is the time. Christmas is nearing. So far, this is just the bottom part. Once I attach the top, you'll see how full it'll get. You want it to get full enough to where the middle of this is like the mesh is covering most majority of the middle type. So therefore, when you attach whatever you're going to attach to the middle of it, it'll lay onto that mesh, and you can attach it. So it won't look like it's falling through the hole, the middle part. So scrunch, 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 and roll and roll. It's funny, I was teaching at the senior living facility, and I was like, scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. And it was like, what did you say? Screech, screech, screech. And I said, no, scrunch, 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 scrunch it in. And scrunch, scrunch, scrunch it. So the whole time we were doing our wreaths, and I was teaching them. All you hear is everybody around the circle. Scratch, 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 scratch. It was so hilarious. But that's the easier way to think, okay, that's what you have to do. That's the next step. After you roll and roll, 1, 2, scratch, 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 and then roll in the ends. Now, once you get down to the end of the mesh, it will start to roll up on itself, which also helps to roll it in. I'm doing a video. So it'll start to roll itself in like that. It'll start to curl by itself, which is easier. Gives it a little bit more character too. And I think we're almost done with the bottom roll. Let's see. Roll, roll, scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. Roll, roll. And layer it in. You want it to look like a butterfly when you're laying it in there. 1, 2, scrunch, scrunch, roll, roll, and that's just for the bottom. I'm hoping everybody is getting the hang of this. If not, please message me and tell me where you are lost or a bit curious. And I can go through it again and show you. I don't mind. I'm a very patient person. So put it in, fluff it out. Okay, so I cut enough to get all of the bottom. Usually when you're working with a Hobby Lobby wreath, it only has like 8 at the top, 8 spots at the top. Son, what are you doing? And then add that in. So this is the bottom. This is all of the bottom. There it is. Now we're gonna do all of the top and you'll see the huge difference. I'm gonna have to cut a few. 1, 2, scrunch, 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 scrunch. And then roll your top in to meet the middle. Same method. I'm gonna layer that into the top. And what I did was, since we're at the top, I kind of like poofed it around to kind of meet it into the mesh that's at the bottom. Pretty much just like layering it over. And let's see. Gonna cut a few more. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 7. So it just took, oh no, there was it. Okay. So cutting it down. It's pretty much your desired size. It doesn't have to be where I'm cutting it at. Where you feel the type of wreath that you're using, if it's going to fill in those gaps. So 2. I'm gonna have another row upstairs. I think, just in case I run out. I usually try to buy 2 to 3 rows, just in case. I don't know how big or small I'm gonna make the wreath. depending on the order. So I try to stay prepared, just in case. Sorry, y'all, if this is taking too long. Gently pull that off. Get a little tape off. And all right. So we'll start with this one. And roll, roll, scrunch, 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 and then roll it in, and I'm gonna attach it to the top of the other one that I did so that I can complete that. And let's add that in. So it starts to layer itself to look full. Once you pull it, you know, to weave it into each other pretty much. So 1, 2, scrunch, 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 walk it, walk it, walk it to the end, and roll it, and hold it till you put it into the stem. With a wreath, you have to have patience because it is time consuming depending on the kind of wreath that you're making. So I can do this for hours. It's pretty much like a zen for me because it keeps your mind going. Fluff it out. Roll. Roll, scrunch, 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 and roll, roll into each other, put it into the stem, flip it out, and I always try to keep track of the rolls that I do have, so make sure I have enough. If not, I'm gonna have to run upstairs and grab my last roll. And attach and fluff. Pretty much is attaching and fluffing, attaching and fluffing. Said roll, roll, scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. Give it enough space for the top to roll, and then pinch it together. Chico, it's just a mailman, buddy. For such a little dog, there's a lot of bite and bark. 1, 2, scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. 1, 2, fold. And after I make this, I'm just teaching you the base part. After I make this, I'm gonna make a Grinch wreath. I'm more of getting my material from Carolina Pottery. I like to get my centerpieces from the Dollar Tree. Sometimes I get them from Carolina Pottery too. And Hobby Lobby, of course. And sometimes if Michael's has a good sale, then I'll go and grab one from them too. Keanu, do me a favor, love. Go upstairs in my room, on the closet door. You see all those mesh rolls that I have? Just sticking in the pockets. Just grab this one. Look, it's gold and blue. It's on the bottom. I always try to make sure I have enough. This I like to add this. For this particular wreath, I'm making a personalized centerpiece, and I have to make that on my Cricut. But for right now, I just wanted to teach you the basics on how to do the base part of the wreath. So this is how we're looking so far. See how it's getting fuller and fuller? You have to get around to 1, 2 more. And then once you start adding your ribbon, then you'll see the difference, like how it'll add that full effect to it. I usually always try to get my stuff to match each other. Like the ribbons and stuff. Once I start shopping for the mesh, I'm like, okay, now what ribbon would go great with it? And kind of complement the mesh. Thanks, love. Thank you so much. So yeah, this was Carolina Pottery. They had, no, this one was, no, this one was Hobby Lobby, but they do have these at Carolina Pottery as well. This was half off, $4.99. It's $4.99 because it's $10. But, 1, 2, and 3. So I need to cut 3 more at 17 inches. Here you go. What's going on, love? What's the matter, buddy? My love. So 3 more cut. 1, 2, and 3. So, remember, this is the Cruffle method. 1, 2, the dog, scrunch, 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 roll, roll, pinch together. And here is right here. And we're on the last one for the top. Let's get that. Roll, fold, roll, fold. Scrunch, scrunch. Fold it in. 1, 2. It does not have to be perfect, y'all. It does not. I don't know if anybody out there is a perfectionist as far as wreaths go, but the more flawed it looks, it also gives character too, because then people know you've actually added, you know, an authentic touch to your wreath. And that it wasn't one of those perfected type. So, 2, and add that in. My double cross method. Here we are, y'all. Look at that. Look how full that is. See how full that is from one end to the other? You always want this middle to not be wide open. You want to be able to have everything full in where they're kind of pretty much scrunched in together a little. Therefore, you can't really see, like I'm pretty sure you can't see my hand right now. I'm holding it behind the mesh and you can't see my hand. You should not be able to see your hand from the back. So, if you do, then you're gonna have to start fluffing it a little bit more. You should not be able to have a big gap in between. I'm going to look. What I like to do, now this is a different design. I like to add in, but I'm not gonna do that right now because I want y'all to be able to get the ribbons on. I want to show you the bow method. Let's see where I put my ribbon. I have a whole bag full of them, or bags full of them. So I like to accentuate the gold and the blue. And with it, easiest way to do my bow method, I like to measure them till 15 inches because I like big bows. Matter of fact, I'll do this till 16 inches. We're gonna do this at 16 inches. Give it a few ways to spread open. Okay, so I've cut this 16-inch ribbon. What I do is sometimes I'll hot glue the ends just to make sure they're safe, but they're gonna stay anyway. Because you make sure that this end is overlapping this end to where you still have a little bit of space right here that's still gonna overlap. And then once you hold on to that, therefore you still have that, push it down to the middle where you're centering the ribbon down, like that. So therefore, and then once you have this, push it in, just pinch it. Therefore, you have your bow. And then, once you have that, gonna add it in to your stems. Therefore, push it in, hold it down, and twist it around the bow. And flare out your bow. Like so. Show you what they look like. So, Chico. There goes the bow. It's right there. And I can add tails. I'm going to actually do a triple bow and at the bottom of it and add a few tails to dovetail the ends and then add some tails too. That's how the bow looks sitting into the wreath. So, sorry, I'm trying to do this by myself. Leaving it up to the kiddos. They're all doing their own thing and trying to enjoy the rest of their Thanksgiving break. So, I'm going to put this down to, I said 16. you see how I measure mine. I don't even go one by one by one. I just kind of match it up since I know I've done one at 16. Match it up and cut at the bottom where the other end is. Therefore, I have 2. And I'm going to do every other because I might add a different pattern bow to the other stems. So I'm going to do, I'd say, about maybe 8 or 9 of them. So always match them up, make sure they all match. It doesn't matter anyway because you can still fold. You're going to still fold them in the ends anyway. So you won't be able to tell the difference once it's turned into a bow and laid into the mesh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. Chico. 7. 8. Let's try it at 8 right now. All right. So let's go back this way. I'm gonna do every other. So, like I said, fold the ends in together to overlap, like so. And then fold it down, like so. And then, and then pinch it in. Therefore, you'll have both sides, like so, and set it into your mesh, into your stem, on top of the mesh. So, and fluff out your bow. So we're going to continue to do this. Down in. Every other. I like to do every other. You can put it in every one of them. It's your choice how you want to put your bows in. I like to do every other because I like to alternate my bows, the different styles that I have. Let me get the top and then I'll show you what it looks like. Being that we're doing every other, some of them might be right next to each other. At least one of them will. Okay. And flip your bow. And fold in. Push down. Align it. And then pinch it in. Fluff it up. I don't know what it is, but I love gold and blue together. That is so beautiful. Other. bows out. Go to next. Put that out. And go to the next, or the other. Remember to make sure that the ends are kind of overlapping each other. Therefore, you still have a piece of it hanging in the inside. Because once you start pinching and you fold it on top of it, you want to make sure that it's still going to stay. So that's why I do that way. Hope I'm not making y'all fall asleep over there. This is my crazy morning look. Especially when you have 5 kids, 2-step kids. And your child works and to wake up in the morning and take her to work. And you're running off of just a little bit of coffee. Might not work. So I'm gonna put that right here. All right, this is the last one. Okay. So, this is where we're at right now. These are the bows in between. You add your bows, and then I'm going to use a different kind of bow. I'll probably use just a plain gold bow to kind of, you know, add in to every other. So right now we're looking at this big fluffy bow. I mean, a big fluffy wreath. So now let's see if I can't find it. Gold. I have a little bit of everything in here, so bear with me, y'all. I was thinking maybe I should have used this one, but then it might be a little too dark, and then it's black and gold. This, what do you think about this? I think I might actually use that. Even if it has a little bit of sparkles of green and red in there, I might actually use that. So, what do cut these at 16 too. So this is how it's looking so far, y'all, from this angle. This is what we're doing. Right here. Okay, so let's go ahead. And these were at Carolina Pottery for $1.99. And this is a it's a 10-yard roll. They have like this bin that they usually set out when there's an overload of ribbons, because they have beautiful ribbons.